Sometimes we have to know when a blessing has turned into a burden. Certain things are a blessing in one season of your life. Those same things can be a burden in another season of your life. And that's okay. It just means that God is doing something different. He's done with that. Hello guys, and welcome back to my channel. God has just been like putting this on my heart for like days. I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it, you know, when I get time, you know, when I sit down and have everything together. And I'm on my way to leave for the gym, and I just felt this overwhelming sensation to like stop everything that you're doing and film this video. So really quick, it's not even going to be like a long 20-minute one. It's going to be super quick. But basically, I don't know if y'all had a chance to watch my last video where I talked about, you know, why I don't date and everything. But in that video, I talked about a season of my life where I was mad at God. I didn't want to pray. I just didn't want to, you know, talk to him. I just kind of like, it was kind of like he was on the back burner, you know, for a couple of months. The main reason for that, in all honesty, is because of the whole marriage situation and the way that, you know, things ended up. I was just so upset because I got married because I prayed, and I 100% heard God say like, oh, marry him, you know what I mean? Like, I was like, okay, God, you know, you sure? Like, you sure this is what you want me to do? And I got the confirmation, you know, obviously married, you know, la-di-da, everything else happened. So I was just like, you know, God, why did you tell me to marry him if you knew it was gonna end up like this? Like, it just wasn't making sense to me. I was like, God, like, did I not hear you correctly? Like, was I wrong? You know what I mean? Like, why? Because surely God, you wouldn't have told me to do something that you knew was going to end up in pain and betrayal. Like, surely God, you would not have told me to do this if you knew I was going to end up hurt in the end. So clearly I was wrong in what I thought I heard you say. The biggest lesson I learned from that is sometimes we have to know when a blessing has turned into a burden. That's probably the biggest lesson I learned in 2022. I thought it was my job as a wife to like pray. You know, you always hear like, you know, get in prayer, like fight the devil, you know, like don't give up. God can do anything. God can do the impossible. Like, you know, like that was my mindset. Like, I was really believing like God to do this. And what I learned is that one, you have to know when God is done with something. Certain things are a blessing in one season of your life. Those same things can be a burden in another season of your life. And that's okay. It just means that God is doing something different. He's done with that. And that's what I had to realize was like, you know, I'm not a bad person for getting a divorce. You know, like I did my part. Like that was my main thing in the whole divorce. I was like, at the end of the day, I just want to make sure that I did my part. You know, I changed my bad behavior. You know, like I went to therapy. I prayed. Like I did my part. At the end of the day, I wanted to make sure that I could say I did everything I knew to do, everything I could do, and everything that I should have done, you know? You know, it's crazy because I thought that getting a divorce would be the end of my life, and really it was just the beginning. Like once I truly let go of the marriage, I started focusing on myself. I stopped waiting around for a man to tell me I was beautiful, for a man to want me. You know, I stopped feeling sorry for myself, to be honest. I looked in the mirror and I was just like, you are everything. You are beautiful. You are a good woman. You are a great mom. Like, just because someone else doesn't see your value doesn't mean that there's no value there. $100 bill is still $100 bill, whether it's ripped up, shredded, stumped on, spit on, called me names. Like, $100 bill is still $100 bill. I had to realize my worth and love myself first and stop expecting other people to love me, because if I really loved myself, I would have never even settled for half the crap that I settled for. I had to realize that God's done with this. He's moved on. You know, reminds me of that story where when God said to Samuel, he said, how long are you going to mourn over that which I rejected? How long are you going to mourn over something that I'm finished with? How long are you going to mourn over something that I have put my final say in? I have declared that it's done. You know, we're moving on. on, you know, how long are you going to wish for things to be different? How long are you going to sit there and blame yourself and wonder, oh, if only I had did that, shoulda, woulda, coulda? Like, how long are you going to sit here and try to think of a million ways that it could have ended differently? Like, you know what I mean? Like, how long are you going to mourn over that which I rejected? How long are you going to mourn over what I'm done with? And God was just like, it was a blessing. And because in my mind, I'm the kind of person, like, sometimes I can be like very analytical, very like black and white. Like, it has to either be this or it has to be that. Either I heard you wrong, or like you know, it has to be like, it has to make sense, right? Like, sometimes things just have to make sense. God was just like, it's not that you did anything wrong. It's not that you didn't hear me correctly. It was just that it was a blessing in this season. It's turned into a burden in this season. So we're moving on from it to go to the next season, you know? That was part of one of the biggest lessons I learned this year, because I noticed that in every aspect of my life, even in the jobs that I worked, like when I was working at the Cheesecake Factory and then getting raped by coworkers. The Cheesecake Factory was a blessing. That job was a blessing because I didn't have anything, you know. It allowed me to like get my own place, get a car, all those things. In one season, it was a blessing. But then once that situation happened and now my mental health is like going crazy, like I'm having panic attacks, I'm having like anxiety, like all these things, it was a burden in another season. And so it was time to move on. Then I got the restaurant management position. It was a blessing in that season, you know. It taught me about leadership. It helped me grow. It helped me, you know, move and become a different version of myself. But then it became a burden when I saw it was making me not like me, you know what I mean? I think sometimes we just have to know when to walk away from a situation. I think because I have such a big heart that I try and just like make everything work, and I feel like I'm such a loyal person that it's hard for me to let go of things, because I'm always like, I can fix it, I can do this. And God sometimes is just like, you know, it's not about what you can do, it's about what I have already said. If I rejected it, then I rejected it. If I said we're done with that relationship, then we're done with that relationship. If I said we're done with that job, then we're done with that job. And it's up to us to not try to hold on to things that God has already declared that he's done with. When one door is closed, there's always another one that's already open. We just have to leave this room, shut the door, and walk down the hall to see the other ones, and it's always something better. God's goodness is not dependent on the outcome of our situation. God's goodness is not dependent on whether the situation turns out how we want it to, how we hope it's going to, how we pray it will. But at the end of the day, God was still faithful, God was still good, and God still showed me a strength I didn't even know that I had. So that was just one thing I had to understand was, you know, God's goodness is not dependent on the outcome. God's goodness is just who he is. It's the totality of who he is, who he always has been, and who he always will be. You know, I don't mind going through hard things because I always come out stronger, wiser, more mature, smarter. And those are things that you can't put a price on. Everybody's like, oh, you're so strong, you're so mature for your age. You know, a lot of times people want the wisdom, but they don't want to go through the experience to get the wisdom. For me to like be who I am today, I went through a lot of stuff, okay? Like that was like not even half of it. I don't pray for an easy life. I just pray for the courage to get through the hard things. I don't need you to make my life easier, God. I need you to make me stronger, because if I'm gonna be on your strongest warriors list, give me the strength, Lord. Give me the courage, give me the wisdom, give me all of it, because I need it all. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Like I said, I wanted this to be a super quick video, something that God revealed to me, and hopefully maybe it can help you in an area of your life too, because I know it helped me. Just understanding that, you know, it's okay for blessings to turn into burdens. It's okay to walk away from things that are no longer, if it's no longer honoring God, you know, I think that's maybe like a telltale sign that I'm not just saying like quit on everything and don't put in the work, you know, that's not what I'm saying. But sometimes things get to a place where it's like, this is no longer like glorifying God, it's no longer honoring God. So maybe it's time for me to like walk away from it. God blessed it in one season, but the way these things turned out, it's become a burden, and God's doing something new. And if I want to get the new thing that God has for me, I have to let go of the old thing. So if you got something from this video, or you liked it, or you can relate to it, comment below so I can know. And yeah, thanks for watching. See y'all in my next video. Bye.